Right, so you're welcome back. And in February 2018, Ghana's first ever special prosecutor was sworn in. It's been 15 months since then, and Ghana still has not received a single official update from the Office of the Special Prosecutor. This is in spite of the fact that the law says they must give such updates once every 6 months. So why the silence? And why is the man who single-handedly pursued justice with his own money yet to prosecute a single case, even though he has 180 million Ghana cedis and the full authority of the state behind him? So what's going on at the Office of the Special Prosecutor? Well, I had a conversation with their board chair, Linda Ofori-Kwafo. There was a lot she was able to share with us, and some things she wasn't. Let's check it out. Well, thank you so much for speaking to us. The last time we met, you had just been appointed.
Okay.
So how have things gone since then, since you started doing the work proper of running the board of the Office of the Special Prosecutor?
I think it's been a mixed of things. It's been good, it's been stressful, it's been responding to questions from the media is the aspect that has been difficult in this whole process. But then working with a team of people who are committed and ready to help fight corruption in Ghana has been amazing.
So what has been difficult about responding to the media?
Sometimes the media messes up the role of the board and the role of the office. And they expect you to know and respond to them as if you work in the office. And I'm not a staff of the Special Prosecutor's Office. I have a responsibility, especially when the act is very clear. There is a portion of the act, if I'm sure, I think it's under the mandate or so, that says that no person or office should be able to control the day-to-day work of the Special Prosecutor and his office. This is one of the ways in which the independence of the office is secured in the Act 959. There's another place that says that even the board, I think the section 6 deals with the functions of the board. There are about 6 functions in all. And the last bit says that we should not interfere in the day-to-day affairs of the office. So basically, don't go asking him in the morning, "Big boss, what cases are you investigating? What have you been doing since yesterday, 2 days ago?" We don't have that responsibility. There is a portion of the law that says that if the OSP investigates a matter and finishes and prosecutes, you're supposed to give a report to the Attorney General's office. I think within 30 days after all is done. So at that juncture, he's supposed to report to the office. I'm sure it's taking care of the provision in the Constitution. I think it's Article 88, Section 4, thereabouts. So that's why that provision has been made. But to the general public, he's supposed to publish some kind of reports that has been provided for in Section 33 of the Act as well. And that is the report that I am privy to. And that is the report anybody else should know about.
Okay. So it's a report that he has made available to the board, although he hasn't yet made it public.
He has briefed the board. But then the Act actually said the OSP is supposed to publish on a 6-month monthly report in a daily newspaper, at least 2. That has a wide reach. So I'm sure you know the ones that have the wide reach. And it's supposed to actually tell the public the list of cases that has been investigated and prosecuted. And I think there are 2 main things. The second one is supposed to talk about any acquittals and all those things. So there are only 2 things he's supposed to do. He's supposed to do it every 6 months. Okay. So that is what I'm talking about. It's not, it doesn't have the responsibility to be telling the board, but it has responsibility to be telling the general public, including everyone. Okay, that's fine. And as I can well imagine, you often must get questions about day-to-day running of the office and so forth, which you have clarified is not, the job of the board or by extension the chair. But does the special prosecutor
update the board on progress? For example, if he's decided to take a certain case to court, when you have your board meetings, does he update the board that, well, we've decided to take this case to court and this is where we are with it?
I would love to read to you the functions of the board. And apart from the fact that the board is supposed to make the necessary policies, they've talked about the allies and all those things which we helped in putting in place. The OSP does not have that responsibility to tell us. He can actually seek the advice of the board on matters he deems necessary. So then the functions might not clearly have mentioned that, but then if he wants to, he can actually seek the board's advice on such matters. The OSP does not have to be telling us the cases he's investigating. If you are privileged to know, you get to know.
Okay.
But then he doesn't have that responsibility. And from day one, we all agreed that it would be good for us to work with the office according to the laid down provisions of the Act, and that is the only way we can work very well in harmony. Yeah.
Okay. So I get it, he's not obliged to inform the board. He can seek advice if he wishes.
Yes,
Has
on
he ever?
other matters, but then on the ones that the board is supposed to advise on, we do that on regular basis, because just like any other board, or just like most boards, we are supposed to have quarterly board meetings. And since the board was inaugurated in July 2018, we've actually not missed, and we have been able to meet, especially when we're developing the allies. We even met more than we had emergency board meetings as well.
So, has Mr. Amidu ever sought the advice on the board on any case that he's been working on?
Not cases, but on other matters, yes.
Okay. So, does the board know the status of any of the cases that Mr. Amidu is working on?
I will tell you, I'll be telling you a lie if I tell you of any of the cases I know the OSP is working on. The ones that we all know is what persons or general public have gone to him, and he has assured them, I will take it up.
Okay.
So even today, I think there was another case that he said, it's in the news that he said he will take it up. So the ones that we all know, he will take it up, or he has promised, or he is working on them. Okay. We know, we all know, and I know just like any other person.
Okay.
But then if there's a report of how many cases he has received, there are numbers, so there are lists. So I've received 10, 5, 15. That's one I can say I know.
So do you know how many he has received? Do you know how many cases he has active?
I don't have it on top of my head.
Okay, all right. You know the media, we pick up information every now and then. Hiring and firing, recruiting lawyers or investigators.
Okay. So if you check the role of the board provided for in Section 6 of the Act, we are supposed to help or guide or advise in the recruitment of people, I think senior level personnel. Okay. So then how do you do this? We are supposed to prepare, and so we help in the preparation of the two important allies of the office. Those allies became effective in December 22nd, I'm sure about that. and I'm sure they are now public documents. So one of them deals with operations of the office, and the second LI deals with the human capital management and all other aspects. So in the operations, just like any other legislation, the Special Prosecutors Act 959, is supposed to have a guideline that will help in when it comes to how do you do investigations, how do you go about the prosecutions, how do you do the asset management, everything that is supposed to help in the effective implementation of the act, we're taking care of in the LI, the first LI, that focuses on the operations of the OSP Act. And the second one that deals with human capital and management actually outlines procedures for recruitment, it outlines management of staff members. You know, the Act also talks about divisions, various divisions of the OSP, and at a point said if the board deems it necessary, other divisions could be created. So all those things have been catered for in the human capital LI. The LI focuses on the human capital management and all that. So the necessary provisions or responsibilities and policies have been put in place to enable the office operate effectively and efficiently.
Okay, so you do play some role when it comes to hiring and firing of certain
when it comes to helping to recruit certain senior staff. So, and we have done that by putting in place the necessary guidelines to be adopted.
How about firing? Does the board have any role to play in the process through which a person would be fired from the office of the Special Prosecutor?
I can't really remember that.
Okay, has there been an instance of a firing since the office was...
At this moment, I know the office is trying to put in place or get the necessary individuals that could fit as heads of the various divisions. That's the first step, and then subsequently all other staff members could be engaged. If you look at the Act, the office can actually use various means to get people to work in the office, and can also get people from secondment from other state institutions. So I know the secretary and other people have come on secondments, but I don't know of anybody who has been fired.
Okay. How about transferred or removed from the office for any reason?
The office itself, I'm not sure, has so many staff members that now anybody be interested in sacking people. We need the people to be able to do the work. So to the best of my knowledge, some people have come on secondment, and the few people, the office is now trying to make sure some senior level people have been recruited. It doesn't have too many people, I must say. The numbers, I do not know, but it doesn't have too many people.
Okay.
But now we are now putting in place mechanisms to get.
Okay. How many lawyers are employed by the office?
The Act mentions a figure. Currently, the OSP can tell us how many lawyers he has. I don't have an idea how many lawyers.
Okay, but you know that there are some lawyers who have been recruited?
I don't know.
That's interesting, because you would imagine that is a role to which you would give some input into the recruitment.
Kojo, I don't have the responsibility to recruit the people personally. The board has discussed the processes and what means we should use to get some people to work in the OSP office. We've had a first board meeting for the year. A second board meeting will be taking place, and there will be a briefing. Any other thing I know has come to my knowledge unofficially.
Okay.
And so I don't have, I can't disclose something.
But officially?
Officially, the OSP is now putting in place mechanisms to recruit some key staff to head, and that is the first step, to get people to work as heads, and then with the support, other people can be recruited. Because with the skeleton staff members that he has, which he easily counts them, they will not be able to go through any difficult process. The Act actually mentions steps and procedures to use. You can actually hire a consulting firm to help in the process. But at this juncture, the most important thing to the office is to get the necessary people who needs to do the work. And so efforts are being made to get the people.
There is an investigative division.
Yes, please.
Okay, and there are some people who have been brought in to work in the investigative division. That you're aware of officially. Okay.
I don't know them by name.
Fair enough, but you are aware that some people have been brought in there. Are you aware of any people who have been brought in to work in the, what's the name of the division where the lawyers would be?
Investigations?
No, where the lawyers
would be. There are about 4 divisions.
Okay.
Yes, and I can check for you if you want.
Sure.
Okay, so
I would love that.
Divisions about Article Section 19, if you give me that. It says the office shall have the following divisions: Finance and Administration, Investigations Division, Prosecutions Division, and Asset Recovery and Management Division.
Okay.
Because you know the Act makes sure, or actually gives the OSP the responsibility of asset recovery.
Assets,
then that's how we have the division.
So you would expect it's possible to have lawyers in more than one of those divisions.
Oh, yes.
Prosecution, definitely.
Yes.
So how many lawyers are in the prosecution division? Right. Officially, your board has not been informed of any lawyers.
The board meets on a quarterly basis. Some of the people that we actually that came in through secondments, I think I mentioned the secretary, and then the number currently I don't know, because I think we met early part of the year, and we should officially know these things when we go for meeting.
Does the office have an official premises? Office of the Special Prosecutor?
Currently, the office is operating from somewhere.
Okay.
And I'm sure media people know where the office is located. So that is the office.
I don't.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm not good at directions, unfortunately.
Which part of the city is it? I'm sure it's not supposed to be a secret, is it?
Oh, it's not supposed to be, but I
Okay,
don't.
so you can tell me.
You see, I'm choosing my words carefully because I'm not a PR for the office, and I don't like doing it. So I am discussing or having this conversation because I serve on the board.
That's right.
And the board has some role to play so far as the office is concerned. I'm very much interested in the fact that the bidder says so we can have an effective running office.
And that's actually why I'm asking you these,
Okay.
you know.
So the OSP office is located somewhere in Accra, and most journalists know.
Okay, I'm one of the few who
including your media house.
Okay, so which part of Accra is it? Is that the ministries, or is it at which suburb of Accra will I find the office of the Special
You're in
Prosecutor?
Abelembi, right?
Yes.
It's somewhere.
It's somewhere in Abelembi.
No.
Okay. Sorry?
It's not in Abelembi.
Okay, where is it? Where is it? I didn't think of all the questions I had, I didn't think this would be a difficult one.
Why do you want to ask me this question?
Oh, but you can't tell us that, can't
You
you?
never tell who does what with this information.
But it's public information, it's not a secret, it's not a
not a
state
secret.
secret.
No,
so you can share it, can't you? The reason why I'm asking this is because I know that this is a period during which a lot of things are being set up.
Okay.
And we know that some funds have been disbursed to the office to help with the setting up and establishment, and I'm trying to get for the people of Ghana an idea of how far things have gone. And because I know you don't work for the office, I have to ask questions that I expect that as a board member you would have been briefed on. So that's what I'm trying to do, so that we don't go into asking questions about the operations of the business. I'm trying to stick within your mandate so that you can comfortably tell us, the things that are officially within your purview. And I would have thought that where the office is located,
so people in the past have called me because the act says the office can also take complaints from the public. Okay, so the people have called me to know the location. I've given telephone numbers for the directions to be given. You realize when we're coming here, I gave my phone for somebody to type it. I'm not good at giving directions. But
this is Abilimpe at least. You can tell me that much.
Yeah,
that's right. So what's the name of the area where the office of the Special Prosecutor is?
Could you?
Okay. Is that because there isn't an office?
Oh, there is an office.
There is an office.
There is an office that the OSP and his team work from.
Is that the office they have been officially assigned?
The OSP and his team couldn't have walked into any premises unless a place has been given to them for them to work from. But I'm sure as time goes on, a more suitable office will be made available to them.
So we've picked up some reports that an office was assigned to the Office of the Special Prosecutor. It was, they were assigned some space in a building. The Special Prosecutor requested that the building be emptied for their purpose because he preferred to operate from a place where other institutions were not located. And he cited security reasons among others. But he hasn't yet moved into this place. As the chairman of the board, are you aware of this?
I can't confirm that the OSP had given some reasons why other people should be moved from a place before he moves in. I don't have that information. But as I told you, currently he's working from a premises. But I know a more suitable and appropriate office in the pipeline being made available.
So do you know which office that is, the more suitable and appropriate one?
Oh, okay, so in the past there have been several discussions of OSP going to this office and that office, but I think I have an idea where finally the OSP.
Where would that be?
I'm not good at locations, could you? I'm not trying, you see, I'm not trying to, so the OSP has a responsibility, a very important mandate. In the past, I could sit on telly and even tell the general public where I live. I have stopped that a long time ago. If I can readily remember the OSP office telephone line, I can mention for people to call for them to get the directions to the place. So there have been a number of places that have been mentioned in the past, but I know we are close to getting something more convenient for the office too. And as I said, I can't confirm whether anything of the sorts you mentioned or described happened. But then it's only proper that because of the nature of the work he's mandated in the act to do, he will get a very secured premises to work for. And so, but I can confirm whether what you said happened.
So you mentioned that you have an idea of where that place will be. Do you have an idea of whether that place is ready?
No.
Okay. We've picked up some reports that it is ready.
Wow. So
I was hoping that you might be able to explain to us why they haven't moved in.
You are informing me that the new place or the final destination of the office, OSP office, ready.
So that means you are saying that you didn't know that this place was ready.
I knew there would be a movement.
Do you know why the movement hasn't happened yet?
At the last time this matter came up for discussions, I think it has just been secured. I don't know whether it's ready or not, and nobody has briefed me.
Okay. When did it come up for discussion? The last time?
I don't remember the dates, but it's only, we only have official discussions of the officers' work in board
meetings. Okay. When was the last board meeting?
I'm sure in the first quarter of this year.
Okay. January?
I'm good at chewing acts and sections. I'm not good at this.
Okay, so you don't recall which month of the 4 months we've already had this year?
Certainly it was not January.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sure it was not January.
February? March?
Not March.
April?
No, not April. I think the first quarter.
So
January,
February then.
March, thereabouts. Yeah.
February, okay. And since February, when you were informed of this place, you haven't had an update about whether it's ready or not, but you know they haven't moved in?
Oh yes, I would have known definitely.
Okay. So earlier we were talking about recruitment and hiring and firing. And you said that officially you haven't been informed of any recruitment of lawyers. I wonder if you are aware of a member of staff called Peter Owusu-Efriye.
No.
Okay. How about Joseph Dasana?
Why do you ask about Joseph Dasana?
I'm going to assume that you know who Mr. Dasana is.
Has he left the place?
No, not to my knowledge. But it appears that there was a report about Mr. Dasana's fuel consumption or use of fuel
I
components.
don't know about this. This is so internal and administrative, and I've not heard about it. I don't know. Nobody has briefed me about it. It also depends on the time that happened. Because you must know, as I said from the onset, if I read the 6 functions of the board members to you, you will know this does not fall within our mandate.
It's not the kind of thing you would be briefed on.
No, it's more internal and day-to-day work of the OSP.
So by implication...
You see, the board of the OSP is quite different. I work in an organization and I have a board. And the board I have to know most of these things, almost everything, because obviously my annual reports can bring up some of these things, my financial reports and all those things will bring up these things. So these things can be reported to the board, can be resolved. If even it's administrative sanction, my board will know. The OSP is supposed to be an independent investigative body with the responsibility to deal with a very serious matter called corruption. The Constitution had given that responsibility already to the Attorney General. We found a way to get somebody to play the role to now focus only on the fight against corruption, to ensure the person's independence and ability to do the work. Obviously, we have tried to give him so much independence. Okay, then there is a board. But then the board comes in to do a particular thing. That I said, Section 6 with 6 functions. Getting to know who has overused fuel does not fall under whatever, my mandate. And so I wouldn't know, and I don't know. I'm not telling a lie.
Okay. Well, I generally assume that you are honest with us. So, but of course, I had to ask if this was a matter that, for any reason, had been brought to the attention.
I'm sure it's the matter that the office should be able to respond to, and not the board.
Okay, but it hasn't been brought to the attention of the board.
It doesn't have to come to the attention of the board.
I know it doesn't have to. I'm just trying to confirm that it hasn't, for any reason, been brought.
Not even unofficially.
Okay.
I don't go nosing. No.
Okay. All right. So, at the moment, there is an expectation for the office to make public some information about the cases that they have been engaged in?
The expectation should be that the office would list. How I wish I can read a section to you. I take this whole interview as a form of public education.
Yeah.
And so let us go to section 3.3 of the Act.
Okay.
Okay, so the office shall, on a half-yearly basis, publish the following information in at least 2 daily newspapers of national circulation and on the website of the office. A, the list of corruption cases investigated and prosecuted by the office. And B, the number of acquittals, convictions, and cases pending in respect of the cases prosecuted under paragraph A, and the value of proceeds recovered, if any. So these are the things the OSP is supposed to list and make public. And I'm sure it's supposed to do it on a half-yearly basis. I made this argument. Obviously, it's a new, fresh office that has to be set up properly in order for it to be able to execute its functions and mandates effectively. It will need some time to set up properly. Then, on a half-yearly basis, obviously the OSP was appointed, I'm sure, somewhere February 2018. The board was came or inaugurated around July 2018. And so the first 6 months will be the time to put things in place. The second 6 months we're already in, and we are actually now, I'm sure, in the third 6 months. So it is more possible that the office should be able to do something of this nature. But the first 6 months, it will be, I don't know the word to use, but any Ghanaian expected that a report of this nature could have been published in blank sheets, because a report of this nature couldn't have obviously been published. So I'm sure because it's the mandate of the office and not the board, the office should be able to do this, because this is a provision of the law, and because I am an advocate for transparency and accountability, is something very dear to my heart. That is the only time the public gets to know some of the things that are happening within the office.
So have you had conversations with Mr. Amidu about it? Do you know what his plans are?
Anytime I've tried to talk about this subject, the next thing I know, Linda Ofori-Kwafo says a list will be published soon. Now people tell me I'm a politician.
That's why we brought a camera, so that people will not be confused about what you said and what you didn't say.
Kojo, I believe in the laws that we have, and I believe we are supposed to work according to the law. So this is a responsibility, and the office must and should do that.
So have you had conversations with Mr. Amidu about it?
The office will do that.
I'm wondering whether you have had these conversations.
Personal conversation.
Chair, and this is something that is dear to your heart.
So dear to the hearts of the board members.
Indeed, indeed.
Yes.
So, yes, is that something that you brought up with Mr. Amidu?
You need not even bring this up. Mr. Amidu also is a seasoned lawyer, and he knows the implications of some of these things. And I'm sure he knows that this will be done.
So what has he said officially about it? About, when he intends?
I think I am the one who has made official comments about this. But I know it will be done. Take my words.
So Mr. Amidu has not said anything to the board officially about when he is going to publish the information?
Try to remember. All I can say for now is that it will be done.
How do you know this? How do you know that it will be done?
Could it to be done because I'm a
it will be
board
done?
member? Must Mr. Amedu say it before it to be done? No.
You will ensure that it's done. Is that
Yes,
what you're saying?
please.
Okay. And how are you going to do that?
Ensuring that it is done.
Yeah, I'm curious to know. I mean,
It's one of the ways you. Oh, the procedure. It just taking. Knowing because he already knows what he's been doing. So what are the things he's doing that falls within these two sub-provisions of Section 2.2 of the Act, and that will be done.
So you already know the things he's been doing that fall within those two provisions.
It is talking about lists, cases that are being investigated and prosecuted. I don't know the details of any case.
But you know the list of cases.
I don't know the list of cases. I just told you earlier, I don't even know the numbers. It has been mentioned before. I don't remember them.
So I'm just
I know the ones that we all know in the public domain.
Okay, so I'm just wondering, when you say it will be done, it's an assurance you're giving. So
oh yes, I'm a board member, I'm a board chair, and we are supposed to ensure that the office actually operates effectively and also ensure that the functions of the office are being implemented. If this is one of the functions of the office, then obviously, as a board that believes in transparency and account, that is the bit I like, letting the world know what you have been up to.
And you've explained that Mr. Amidu is now in a better position to do this because of the passage of time.
Yes, I explained that. Obviously, in the first 6 months, something of this nature couldn't have been done. If any kind of reports have been mentioned, that would have been done. But then, if specifically these two, I don't see how it could have done in the first 6 months when things were not being put in place. Because Mr. Amidu, I've heard him talk about or assuring people he's taking on a number of cases, then it's possible he will be able to. But then, as to when and where to be in the dailies, but when in the dates, it is the office that will make it known to the public. I don't know.
But you have assured that it will happen. That's why I'm asking.
Oh yes, I've assured because that's what happened.
How do you know it?
Because my civil society constituency are waiting for such an information, and I wouldn't say it. I don't know the expectations of Ghanaians. People are asking questions, and people come to me asking me questions. You try to explain, and you are misquoted, and it's published. The press have the space. I don't. Now I'm being given opportunity. So I'm telling you, it is one of the functions under the OSP's mandate, and because the board has a responsibility to ensure that its functions are performed, we will ensure that the function has been performed.
So, since you have already explained that you don't actually know the specifics,
I don't know.
The cases.
Any day, any time, I'll tell you, I don't know, and I'm not supposed to know, and I won't try to know. You see, when you stay within your limits, there will be harmony. We are a number of people, board people, coming from various state institutions with responsibilities related to the fight against almost all of them. So we all know how it is like dealing with such issues. And when it is the right time for you to come out, when you have not finished dealing with them, you don't rush on these matters. I am not holding brief for anybody, but I think the right thing will be done at the right time.
So what's the relationship like between Mr. Amidu and the board?
Great.
There haven't been any incidents of worth remarking on?
Well, there haven't been any, and there will be none. From where I sit and from what I know, we've been working very well, and we are hoping it will continue.
How about the other members of your board? How are they all settling in?
Well, we've settled in long time. I mentioned to you the period when we were working on the airlines together with the Attorney General's department. Was back and forth, reading, editing, and all. Just quite a busy period, but we were able to get it out before December 2018 came to an end. So far so good, and I'm anticipating that will continue for the period in which we are supposed to serve maximum 3 years. The first time.
So a few times I asked you whether you knew of any details of cases that...
No, I don't know, Kojo.
And each time you said you don't. I've seen a document.
Okay.
Which was shared with the board.
Okay.
And it has details of cases.
That can be true.
There's not been any document prepared.
No. If there is any document, I'm a very intelligent, I used to be a very intelligent student.
I'm sure you're still a very intelligent person.
Kojo, even without going through my pile of documents from the OSP's office, I don't remember and I cannot recollect any document that has a list of cases that are being investigated by the OSP office. If it is true that such a document exists and has been shared with the board, then I think it gives credence to the fact that the media can sometimes see things that do not exist.
Oh, you said if it's true.
If it's true.
But if
because the
it's true,
documents that we have, that I have, will be board minutes and all those things. I don't know of any document that lists cases that have been investigated. Maybe it was document that prepared in the office, but that document has not been shared with any board. Yes. Apart from being a good Christian and being the daughter of a reverend minister, I'm the wife of a pastor. I won't lie about this any day anytime.
Okay. Well, since that's your official position on the matter.
That's my official position.
I will take that.
But after the interview, you can show it to me. Maybe I have, but I don't remember. I can't recollect. So unless, of course, come again. You say there's a document that has less cases that has been shared with the board. And so the list of board members who received it, you saw my name on it?
That's not what I said. I'm just saying that a document has been shared with the board. And it has
by how? What means?
Listed.
Hard copies, soft copies, or what?
Well, I think what matters here is that
you know the OSP and other state institutions are supposed to be working. Sometimes they do things together. I think at some points we knew the Auditor General's office and the rest were trying to do some investigations and stuff together. If any such document has been prepared and given to any of them, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't remember. I can't recollect. And I don't think I've read. So I can tell you that a case involving Kwesi Mensah Abba, I don't know. No.
Okay. Okay. So let's look to the future. I mean, the office, there's so much expectation from the people of Ghana.
Yes.
Do you see, or are you starting to see, because it's a process, are you starting to see that this office will live up to the expectations of Ghanaians?
I am sure the office should be able to live up to the expectations, especially because of the extent to which corruption has affected us, our development and everything. People, if we're not able to do it in the past, and the government promises previous or other kinds of evaluation processes, like the ONCA has said, you need an office of this nature to be able to investigate and prosecute corruption effectively. That is the way to go. We have done the public educations, we have done whatever to prevent corruption from happening. Still, it happens. So people are expecting that with an effective sanctioning mechanism, we should be able to. That said, starting anything is quite difficult. It's a totally new office. I am a civil society person, and I wouldn't ordinarily hold brief. I'm sure if I was not sitting where I'm sitting by now, I would be just demanding. But then I know what the process has been. The time it took for even an ally that will make the office or the law operational. It takes time to develop this. Now that we have it, we should be moving at a faster rate. I know CSOs are trying to organize a program looking at the 1 year of the OSP. And I'm sure at that round table, I don't know whether OSP is coming or won't be there, but at that round table meeting, we should be able to deliberate. It's an assessment of a sort to present to the public. This is what we're expecting, but it's what has been done. And so how do we get or help or contribute to the office to be able to do its work effectively? And I'm sure when all the feeding challenges have been dealt with, the office should be able to work effectively. Currently, I'm not saying they are not doing much. I know they are working. And as I always say, the details of their work would or should be made known to the public by the office itself. For the board, we have played a role. Now the government has been able to budget for, I think, 180 million Ghana cedis for the office. There will be the need for the office to follow up. It should be automatic, the money should be released. But then I'm sure you know the nature and the system that we have to get the monies released to them, for them to do all that they have to do. But I'm confident that the commitment of the board members and the board, or the board members and the office officials, the OSP himself, we should be able to do so.
Madam Linda Ofori-Kwafo, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, that's what happened when I met with Linda Ofori-Kwafo last week to talk about the Office of the Special Prosecutor, at which she is the board chair. But so much has come out of that. Let's talk a bit more. Let's get on the phone line, speak to anti-corruption campaigner Edem Senanu. He's the co-chair of the Citizen Movement Against Corruption. Mr. Senanu, good of you to join us this morning. Well, that's what Madam Ofori-Kwafo had to say. Your initial thoughts?
Well, good morning. I think that from where she sits and the hat she wears, yeah, she's giving you a description of what the board has been up to, indicated the separation between board and management in terms of the implementation and the execution of actions at the management level. I think that for all of us, our expectations have been much bigger and greater than what has transpired so far. So, yes, the facts are that we are doing the cabinet, the setting up of the office, and then his nomination and appointment. It's not totally long. I mean, they need to carry along the citizenry. And to achieve that, we need more regular feedback and understanding of what is being done with some specifics, so that we are all, able to say that, look, we're not gone down this road without benefiting a clear-cut understanding of what we are achieving.
Now, you heard her confirm that the board has not been informed of the recruitment of any lawyers by the office. I mean, 15 months down the line, and as an analyst of anti-corruption work, I mean, how does that strike you to know that the special prosecutor is yet to recruit a lawyer, not even one so far?
It is worrying. It is worrying. And the more I reflect, I'm wondering, okay, so when we had Martin outside the public sector frame and doing things on his own, he appeared to be the reason why we gave him the title citizen vigilante. I mean, doing so much for all of us as the people. Certainly, when he's put into these strictures, so to speak, and we are wondering whether it is something about the processes and protocols to be followed within the public sector framework, whether he has the liberty to do things timely, whether there is a financing challenge or some other challenge we are not aware about. And so there's real need to urgently engage him to find out what actually are the bottlenecks. Because the Martin Amidu we know, we should be hearing substantive results in terms of holding public officers and others accountable for actions that have betrayed the public trust. So yes, it is a very worrying thing to hear that the expertise that is necessary to be able to, take on board many more cases that we know we have in the public space has not yet been procured. It is very worrying.
Now, we know that 180 million cedis has been released for him to use, in doing all the setup and recruitment and logistics and everything for his office to run. This was in the last budget, November last year.
Did you say release? Because you see, that's another thing we find, that even though a budgetary allocation can be made, when it comes to releasing, people can tell the institution, you enter the figures into the system, but before it's released, Ministry of Finance has to give a certain final approval. And we know of entities that have not yet received funding that has been, as it were, allocated. So I don't know whether there was a confirmation in this interview that the money has hit the account.
Right. Well, no. I mean, what we know is that since the announcement, the Ministry of Finance has sent delegations to the office on a number of occasions to reconcile some figures, and it would surprise me if that was happening in the absence of any money being released. But you are right. We don't have any confirmation of the release of funds.
Because there are two levels. First of all is the question of whether the release has happened, and then what quantum. Because there's the thing of, yes, you have 180 million, but then budgets are for it across quarters, and sometimes they end up being a quarter or two behind in terms of release. And that itself can constrain particular activities, because these activities are assigned per quarter. So if you get your first quarter release in the third quarter, now you want to follow financial rules, you can begin to do activities that were supposed to be done in this quarter when that funding hasn't arrived. And it's critical fact that Mr. Amidu begin to speak to these things.
Right. There might be a difficulty with your line there. It's hard to hear you.
Sorry. Is it any better?
Well, if you could repeat the last thing you said, please.
I was saying that there's an urgent need for Mr. Amidu to speak to these issues so that the facts at the operational level are made clear to us as citizens. Because we have an interest, a very important interest, in the establishment of this office and its running. And it doesn't work well for all of us when we don't have sufficient details to go to interrogate what is happening, what additional help does it need, where should we be standing as citizens in order to demand fair action to ensure that, you know, at the end of the day, we achieve what we set out to do in establishing this office.
Right. Now, the law requires that he updates the nation in a very specific way at very specific times. So every 6 months, he's supposed to put out a publication in at least 2 daily newspapers with wide coverage. And these publications are supposed to inform us of what cases he's dealing with, where he's at with those cases, and any assets that his office has been able to retrieve. So very specific the law is about what he must do every 6 months. He's been in office for 15 months, and we haven't yet had even one of such publications. What are the implications of a person holding such an office violating his own act in this manner?
Well, I believe that he probably will plead extraneous and other circumstances. And I'm sure he'll be able to, as it were, justify that position. And this is why the detail is so crucial. But it does not take away the responsibility, because even if you've done nothing, I think that the spirit of the law is that you come and tell us that, okay, so 0 cases, 0 assets, funding not received, this not done, X, Y, Z, timeline to get this done, next 3 months to get back. I think that that is a better approach than total silence. So he still has a responsibility to act. Yes, he may be able to plead circumstances and factors beyond his control, but it does not mean that nothing can be reported on. And I think that the format is still one that can be utilized to make us know that, look, there's nothing being reported here, but this is the context within which we've been unable to take any action. And this is the time frame within which we're expecting to be able to get back to you with more substantive, reports. So, yes, he hasn't reported. That's an indictment he wanted. But I think that he's going to plead something. It does not stop him from having to tell us that this is what has happened.
Right. Well, I want to say a big thank you to you, Mr. Edem Senanu, anti-corruption campaigner. We appreciate your time with us, and obviously this conversation is only at its beginning, so I'm sure we'll be talking more in the coming days. Now, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, the Coalition of NGOs in Water and Sanitation, CONIWAS, has done a bit of research on how Ghana is working toward attaining Strategic Development Goal 6, which talks about universal access to safe drinking water in healthcare facilities by 2030. The research shows that, most health facilities have no toilet facilities and don't have access to safe drinking water. We'll talk about that when we come back from this break. Stay with us.